Hello all, and welcome back to Gulf Coast Garden Variety. We have a small space that we wanted to spend more time in. Our challenge was, how do we turn a drab patio into a vibrant space? What we had was a bland concrete pad and a boring wall. So we added a round table, a potting table, and a water fountain. They were not enough. Being gardeners that we are, we decided to liven up the space with flowers and edible plants. In this video, we want to show you how you can grow your own garden in a small space like this patio using containers, more precisely, pots. Everyone should have the opportunity to have their own garden, no matter how small the space could be. When we started, this space was a drab concrete floor and bare walls with no points of interest. It wasn't a place we would want to be in for very long. Let's go over what we did to establish a garden in an area with limited space. We made the space a place we would want to spend lots of time in. Here's a basic overview of potted plants and some essential information to get you started with potted plant care for the patio. Let's start with the things that will contain the plants and flowers. Choose pots that have drainage holes at the bottom to allow excess water to escape. The size of the pot should be appropriate for the plant's root system and growth requirements. Consider the material of the pot, such as terracotta, plastic, or ceramic, which can impact moisture retention and insulation. We're using lightweight materials so we can easily move the pots around in the wintertime. For containers and pots, it's important to consider drainage holes. If you don't have drainage holes at the bottom, then the water is going to sit. And the roots need oxygen to grow, or they're going to die. You'll have root rot, and that will not be good for your plants, so holes in the bottom are important. Next is the growing medium for our plants and flowers. Use a well-draining potting mix specifically formulated for container gardening. Avoid using soil from your ground, as it can become compacted and hinder root growth. But if you do, be sure to amend it with well-draining growing materials. Potting mixes are usually lightweight, have good water retention, and provide adequate nutrients for potted plants. Kellogg Garden Organics Raised Bed and Potting Mix is what we use. The description says it is specially formulated for raised beds and container gardening. This earthy mix creates a growing environment that is rich and nourishing for the entire plant. It helps to promote growth for vegetables, herbs, and flowers that are specifically grown in raised beds or large containers. It provides your plants with natural and organic nutrients that help them get off to a good start. And please note that this is not a sponsored episode. Watering is obvious, but it is often overlooked. Water your potted plants thoroughly, but avoid overwatering. Check the moisture level of the soil by inserting your finger about an inch deep. If it feels dry, it's time to water. Ensure that excess water drains out of the pot to prevent waterlogged roots. The frequency of watering depends on the plant species, pot size, and environmental conditions. In the Gulf Coast summer, you will need to water more frequently than the cooler months. Different plants have varying light requirements. This is often neglected. Just because you have put the plant in the pot doesn't mean it will grow when you water it. Some plants prefer direct sunlight, while others thrive in partial shade. Place your potted plants in locations that match their light preferences. Observe how much sunlight your chosen spot receives throughout the day, and select plants accordingly. The plants and flowers we have growing here require full sun, meaning at least 6 hours of sunlight in the day. Besides roses, we have lantana, mint, calendula, vincus, snapdragons, blue turmeric, ginger. Onions we have growing in the same pot as the roses. Cosmos, carpet red variety. Cosmos, carpet gold variety. Pentis, red velvet variety, Angelonias, dark purple, Amaranth gomphrena. Potted plants may need additional nutrients because the available nutrients in the potting mix can become depleted over time. Use a balanced water-soluble fertilizer and follow the manufacturer's instructions for application. Fertilize your plants during the growing season, typically from spring to fall. For the roses, we added Espoma Rose Tone to help them get started well. Plant Tone is another organic fertilizer that we like to use. Regularly inspect your potted plants for any dead or damaged leaves, stems, or flowers, and remove them to maintain plant health and appearance. Pruning and maintenance are necessary to control plant size and shape. Additionally, monitor for pests and diseases and take appropriate measures if an infestation occurs. As potted plants grow, they may outgrow their containers. Transplanting and repotting will help hone your gardening skills. Transplant overgrown plants to larger pots with fresh potting mix when the roots become root-bound or when you notice poor growth. Repotting can help provide additional space for root development and ensure continued health and vitality. As you see with this transplanting of a rose plant from a small pot to a bigger one, it is essential to make sure that there is plenty of space for the roots to grow in as the plant matures. Just like here in the Gulf Coast area of Texas, some potted plants may need protection during the winter. Winter care can be key. Understand the cold hardiness of the plants you have in their pots. Move frost-sensitive plants indoors or to a sheltered area. Insulate the pots or wrap them with horticultural insulation to provide added protection from cold temperatures. In the Gulf Coast region, where the climate can be challenging, container gardening provides the flexibility to adapt to the elements. To create points of interest, arrange the pots in a way that create layers. Also consider the differing heights of the plants and flowers for a layered look. Consider using an interesting fixture like a water fountain if you can. A statuette or something architectural that would draw your eyes would work well. Here's what we did to have a garden in a limited space like a cement-covered patio. 1. Use pots with drainage holes. 2. Choose the right soil structure. 3. Be mindful of the watering. 4. Choose plants for the right sunlight exposure. 5. Arrange different pot sizes into layers. 6. Make use of structures as points of interest. We now have a serene space with a variety of flowering plants and edible ones growing in this small space with multiple points of interest in a limited space. We grouped pots where the smaller plants in smaller pots are in the front and the bigger plants in bigger pots are in the back. Leave some comments if you addressed, or not, the questions that led you to watch this video. And please enjoy the rest of the video showcasing our patio. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Leave comments and pointers to share with others.